Welcome to the Deep Dive. This is where we take your curiosity, look at the sources you send, and really try to unearth the most compelling insights. Today we're jumping into something, well, truly captivating. It's often called the Benin Gene. Think about this. What if your DNA itself held a kind of secret map, like a living time capsule connecting you right back to ancient civilizations? And at the same time, prompting some really fascinating but also complex ethical debates happening right now. Okay, let's get into it. Our focus is West Africa, specifically the country of Benin. You sent us some incredible sources, really interesting stuff about how researchers, scientists, historians, they've all highlighted the profound genetic significance of this region.
Absolutely. And what's particularly striking, I think, about Benin's genetic landscape is how distinct it is, how it stands out really on a global stage. This isn't just, biology class stuff. It's deeply interwoven with power, with historical legacy, cultural identity, and as we'll definitely get into, some very contemporary controversies that might connect more directly to you than you think.
Okay, so let's start there. Given all that, what is it that makes the genetic makeup of Benin so special? Our sources really emphasize that Benin was the heartland of the legendary Kingdom of Dahomey, a powerful pre-colonial state ruling for centuries, right?
That's right, from the 1600s up until French colonization, a major force.
But the sources also suggest its genetic influence runs even deeper, predating even that mighty kingdom. What specific evidence points to that deeper, ancient connection?
Yeah, that's where the DNA really lights up the story. If we look at the bigger picture, studies show the gene pool in Benin holds specific haplogroups. Think of haplogroups like unique genetic signatures, patterns in our DNA. Scientists use them like ancestral stamps almost. They let us trace human migrations, lineages way back, thousands of years. And the key ones here, like E1b1a and L2a1, well, they are crucial markers for tracking really massive human movements. We're talking the Bantu expansion across Africa and also the huge African diaspora that spread, across the globe.
Right, and I saw an article, I think it was in the American Journal of Human Genetics, that highlighted that populations in Benin share ancestral ties, traceable way back to the early Niger-Congo language groups. And get this, the connections even stretch out to regions of modern-day Cameroon and Ghana, and the Igbo and Yoruba ethnic clusters too. That's a huge area, a massive historical sweep. So how does connecting language groups and genetic ties help us understand this living time capsule idea better?
Well, it's really significant because language groups often spread as people migrate, right? They carry their genetic markers with them. So you get this deep intertwined history, culture, and DNA woven together. So the Benin genome isn't just a snapshot in time. It's more like finding an ancient library, but one written not on scrolls, but in the very building blocks of life itself, telling these incredible stories of prehistoric Africa, the Iron Age, these huge movements of people.
Okay, so we've journeyed back, explored these deep roots, millennia back. But this isn't just ancient history, is it? These ancestral threads, they leave a powerful, immeasurable mark on the world today. Let's shift to the hard data, because the numbers, they really underscore the impact of Benin's genetic legacy.
Yeah, and this brings up a really important question. Just how much of this specific genetic signature do we still see, especially in the Americas? Based on transatlantic slave trade records, particularly looking at departures from the Bight of Benin, researchers estimate that Benin accounts for something like 15 to 20% of African ancestry in African Americans today.
15 to 20%. That's a staggering figure, really.
It is. It really brings this ancient history into a very personal, very mod-off context for so many people.
And that mtDNA haplogroup, L2a1, the one you mentioned earlier, the one that's common in Benin.
Yes, the maternal line marker.
Scientists have found that in over 40% of African-American maternal lines, 40%.
That's right.
It's one of the most enduring genetic signatures of West African ancestry in the Americas.
Yeah.
It's almost like the past is speaking directly through ourselves.
It is, in a way. And another compelling aspect, especially for population geneticists, is that the genetic variation within Benin shows less evidence of bottlenecking compared to some other West African populations.
Bottlenecking.
Yeah.
Remind us what that means again.
Right. So imagine a large, diverse population suddenly shrinking dramatically, maybe due to famine, disease, conflict. A lot of that original genetic diversity gets lost. It's like pouring sand through a narrow bottleneck, only a fraction gets through.
Okay, got it.
Benin's populations, relatively speaking, seem to have avoided some of the most severe bottlenecks experienced elsewhere, which means they've retained more of that ancient genetic richness. It provides a deeper, maybe more intact genetic record for study.
Fascinating. But, okay, This deep dive isn't solely about history or the science, is it? It also brings us, kind of unavoidably, face to face with some quite heated modern controversies. Some complex ethical dilemmas. This is where the story gets really current really quickly.
Absolutely. And one really significant debate revolves around the term Benin haplotype, particularly how it's used in clinical genetics. You see it a lot in sickle cell research, for instance.
Okay.
Now, scientifically, it describes a specific genetic pattern linked to the condition. But critics, quite rightly, raise concerns. They argue that attaching the name Benin directly to a disease-prone haplotype could, maybe inadvertently, stigmatize the entire population, or, at the very least, vastly oversimplify a really complex genetic picture.
I can see that. It's not just a label, is it? It carries weight.
Exactly. It raises this profound question about how genetic labels, even if they start out scientifically precise, can end up perpetuating harmful stereotypes. It sort of echoes historical prejudices where certain groups were unfairly linked to diseases. It's a sensitive area.
Yeah, definitely a powerful point. And there's a related issue, maybe even deeper, around the bioethics of genetic sampling itself. Our sources highlight that many DNA studies focusing on Benin populations have been conducted through, well, foreign-funded research projects, which naturally makes you ask, are the local communities actually benefiting from this research? Is there reciprocity? Or are we potentially seeing a new kind of extraction, like genetic extraction, without giving back fairly? What's the core argument there?
Well, the core concern is that this data, once it's collected, can be incredibly valuable. It can be used by, say, pharmaceutical companies to develop disease models, maybe even new therapies. But often this happens without adequately compensating or sometimes even fully informing the source communities, the very people whose genetic material is the basis for these advancements.
Right, so it becomes a question of ownership.
Ownership, benefit sharing, equity.
Yeah.
Who truly owns and who benefits from the knowledge that's gleaned from a community's unique genetic heritage. It's a really complex global discussion about justice and research. It's ongoing.
Okay, so beyond the hard science and these tough ethical questions, the sources you sent also reveal this incredible cultural layer, something embedded within these genes, a story of spiritual migration, which really humanizes the data, I think.
It really does. What's truly remarkable here is how the Vodun religion, which originated in Benin, didn't just stay there. It spread, both genetically, through people, and culturally, through beliefs and practices, across the Atlantic to the Americas.
Ah, so this is the connection to voodoo in Haiti and candomblé in Brazil.
Exactly. It shows how these profound belief systems traveled across oceans, carried in the hearts and minds of people who were forcibly taken to new lands. It's an incredible story of resilience.
And some researchers are even trying to track genetic signatures of specific spiritual groups that migrated through enslavement. That's amazing.
It is. It's this powerful idea, isn't it? A blend of DNA and faith, literally encoded into history. Yeah, just imagine the sheer determination it must have taken to keep those spiritual traditions alive under absolutely unimaginable circumstances. You know, the very act of practicing Vodun or similar traditions in a new hostile land was itself a profound form of resistance, a way to hold on to identity, onto connection.
The lifeline.
Lifeline, exactly. And it's just incredible to see researchers now potentially finding genetic echoes of that journey, confirming this spiritual and cultural resilience reflected right there in the genetic record.
So as we can see, this whole story of the Benin gene, it's so much more than just a sequence of nucleotides, isn't it? It's a profound record of human migration, absolutely.
Yeah.
A symbol of incredible resilience against immense historical challenges. And, yeah, a mirror, reflecting some of the most pressing modern ethical dilemmas we face today. It really is a conversation about identity, about power, about justice, and it's clearly still unfolding.
Definitely. And this whole deep dive, it raises some important questions, I think, for you, the listener, to consider. Things like, should genetic labels like the Benin haplotype be revisited, maybe revised? What responsibility do scientists have to think about the potential cultural harm or stigmatization their terminology might cause? And should nations like Benin, you know, whose people contribute so much to our understanding of human genetics, should they be co-owners of the genetic data collected, or at least share more directly in the benefits derived from it?
Big questions.
Yeah, and maybe the biggest one. Can your DNA ever truly be just yours, when it also tells the story of countless others, connecting you to this deep history, this global human family in ways we're really only just beginning to grasp?
Lots to think about there. We really hope this deep dive into the Benin gene has given you plenty to chew on. Keep exploring, keep questioning. And thanks, as always, for taking this deep dive with us.